So for the last 20 years or so, I've been suffering with a whole bunch of health issues in relation to food and gut health, skin health. It all started, just a brief overview, it all started when I was about probably early teens, started to get really, actually late in primary school when I was about 10 or 11, started to get really bad acne. That led to some, I think, eczema, sleeping issues. I got really badly intolerant to dairy, and that led to some further issues with all these different foods. Eventually the eczema and everything got a lot worse. In my late 20s, probably about 10 years ago, so maybe about mid 20s, I started to get what's called histamine intolerance. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but I'm definitely intolerant to those things. So whenever I was eating them, my heart would be racing, body was tense, anxiety, depression, can't sleep, headaches, brain fog, everything you can imagine. The thing is these foods are in everything. So, cooked meat, unfresh meat, bananas, anything tinned, packaged. So as you can imagine, before I figured it out, those good 9 years or so of me desperately trying to figure out what the hell was going on were just an absolute nightmare. And what it led me to eventually was being convinced that a plant-based vegan diet would fix it. So a year ago now, I went on a plant-based journey. And at the start, I felt a lot better because naturally you eat a lot more fiber, especially the whole foods version, which is what I was doing. So yeah, I was eating a hell of a lot more fiber, more nutrients in there. I started incorporating some fasting, and I never had before. So at the start, it was about maybe a weekly 24 to 48 hour fast. That then died off for about 6 months or so, and I didn't really do it. I was still just eating, multiple meals a day, trying to eat these massive meals of fruit and vegetables and whatever, trying to fill up. In the middle, probably around 9 months or so, it got really difficult. I just kept reacting to everything, even things that were fine, so potatoes and apples and all this stuff that I was fine with, I started reacting to. Things just started getting worse and worse and worse. And this is a really common story for anyone on the plant-based diet for healing, especially ones that seem to get a lot leaner, which is that it just doesn't have things that I think animal products give us, especially if you've got gut damage. The amount of fiber you're eating is just not good for people with gut damage. Things were just flowing through me. I'd be hungry after an hour after a massive meal, could never put on weight, and everything was just getting a hell of a lot worse. So eventually, after because most people were saying that it would be healed within about a year, after about 10 months, it was worse than ever. My eczema, everything was just worse, and I just got super angry. And then that led me to just being like, you know what, I'm just going to do the hardest thing that I can do, which is not eat at all and do it properly. And I got the snake diet guy, Cole Robinson, I got his recipe for his snake juice, he calls it. It's just an electrolyte water. So you're just adding different types of salts in it. And that, as soon as I discovered that, I realized you can just fast for ages on it. You don't feel like shit, you have the energy. Even if you're quite lean, you can do it. At least do, back-to-back 48-hour fast. So in the last 2 weeks, I did a 3-day fast, and I did 3 back-to-back 48-hour fasts with small eating windows, doing non-stop OMADs, that's 1 meal a day if you don't know, and doing I'm currently on my second dry fast at the moment, so I'm about 17 hours into it, planning on doing about 36 hours. So, but from that, my skin went from terrible, my health went from terrible to really good. This is probably the best health I've had as far back as I can remember. As you can see, the skin, it used to be sort of this bright red thing. You can still see a little bit of it there, but it's just so much better. I just feel so much more healthy. A lot of the gut issues are fine now. I started eating meat again because the plant-based diet just couldn't keep up with all the fasting. I was getting all these problems. And so a lot of the gut issues have gone away. I can eat watermelon again. It was causing a lot of problems, just sort of running straight through me, but it's fine now. very quickly things are healing. And I always said to myself that if I ever found the answer, because this thing has been such a nightmare for me for most of my life, I mean, I haven't experienced true health for 20 years probably, and I'm 35 now. So I always said that if I found the answer, I would share it. So that's why I've made this Facebook channel is just to share what worked for me. So anyone with eczema or histamine intolerance or health issues, definitely, hopefully I can give some people some helpful information. Especially something I ran up against, which was the fact that I'm lean, and I have been lean for a long time. I mean, I do exercise a lot and I eat pretty clean. So, and I do find it hard to put on weight easily. So I ran up against that issue with fasting and being so lean that you just can't really fast as long as someone who has a lot of weight. So that's something I did overcome with the sort of the 48 hour back-to-back fasts and things like that. So that's something that I can talk about in later videos as well. So yeah, that's a bit about me, and I'll be making some more videos coming up soon. Cheers.